Okay, now you can hear me. Fun. Uh, I hate it when my mic does that. I hate it. I hate it. It's not my mic actually. It's Streamlabs. Streamlabs will sometimes just like decide to not recognize like any of your peripherals, and like I don't know. It just whatever. Anyway, we're gonna do a thing. Um. But yeah, hope you guys are having a good day. So, um, oh my god, I'm sorry, that light's kind of fucking annoying. I can't get over it. Give me a second. I can't with this light. One second. I'm gonna, one second. One second. There we go. All right, I just had to secure that light. It's gonna bother me. So yeah, we're gonna play a new game. We're gonna play Bastion, and that'll be fun. So let's get to it. So you should, well, not see the game because I didn't actually start it up yet. It's in my screen there. Go to that at the top. Yeah, let's play this game. Gonna first time playing the game. Always wanted to play the game. Gonna play the game. All right. Let's go. Phones. I like these. I like this developer, Super Giant Games. I'm pretty sure this. Yeah, Super. Right, yeah, I'm really pumped. If anyone's out there, which I'm pretty sure there isn't, let me know if you want to talk. Ah. All right, here we go. Normal mode, start a new game. Start a new game with unlimited chances to carry on if the experienced players of all ages. Trophies cannot be earned. Right. Well, give it a try.
Proper story is supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky.
Oh,
He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble.
Can I go back? Can I just go back to bed? Alright, fuck this. Fuck this adventure. I don't have to answer your call. Hell, this is it.
Ground forms up under his feet as it pointing the way. He don't stop to wonder why.
I do wonder why. The fuck? Of course I wonder why.
Finds his lifelong friend just lying in the road.
I go with him?
Well, it's a touching reunion.
Can I fall off the edge?
And then he falls to his death. I'm just fooling.
Okay, alright. Ah. Alright, I'm just fucking around now.
He sees what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. In the calamity.
Can't break whatever that is. Okay.
That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a gas fella. Forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Fella got a piece of him, though.
Okay. I'm looking if there's like items I can get, but I don't know. Okay. I guess I can't go over there. Is there anything? Oh, alright. I got a thing. Alright, so some of these things do have items in me. I don't know what the items do. I'm guessing it's money.
The kid just rages for a while.
Okay, I'm loving the narration so far.
An old repeater falls out of the sky. Ain't a gift from the gods, but it'll have to do.
Okay.
Gotta hold her still to spin up the chamber.
Okay, but... Let me see. Okay, so... Can it reload? Oh, I see. Oh, it does reload. Okay, so I don't have to... Oh, this thing? Alright. Next.
Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting.
But it's a trap!
Sometimes you just need a drink. A school of squirts tunnels up around them. Must have fled here from the mines.
Okay, health power. Alright. Oh, okay.
It's a wonder the old saloon's still standing. Used to have the nicest view.
Oh, Barnett.
Kid finds a memento from a girl he knew. Always used to fancy her.
Interesting. Okay. And what about this way? Oh. Okay, so nothing this way. Okay. Oh, hey guys. Hey, I'm playing Bastion, yeah.
He sets foot inside one of Celandia's famous watering holes. Inside's old Rondi, the bartender. The calamity got him before his drinking did.
But yeah, I'm playing. Hello, Muffin Master. Thank you for being here. Hey, Aiko, what's up, buddy? When do you
Then
decide
Kid
to play
finds
this
his
master,
trusty
please?
shield.
Have you played any other Super Giants games? I played Transistor. That was amazing. I love Transistor. Yeah. And Aiko says, sounds like the Duke Nukem voice. Oh, yeah. Oh, actually kind of does. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Yeah, I've wanted to play this for years. Especially ever since I played Transistor. But I wanted to play this game for a long time. I just never did. I had gotten this game, like, maybe like a few years ago, actually. Like 2 or 3 years ago. Through, like, the PlayStation gaming thing where they... Or maybe I bought this one. I forget. But sometimes PlayStation gives you a free game, so maybe... I think I either got it that way or, like, some sort of discount. But yeah, I'm very excited to have this. Okay. Alright, L2 bend.
The security takes him for a petty thief. Clang. Shield saves his hide.
Okay.
Windbags started turning up for last call.
Alright.
More squirts start coming out of the woodwork. A big old fella pops out in front of the kid.
Oh man. Ah, fuck. do I think it's triangle.
Kid sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop.
Alright, or then. Yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day.
Ronde always wanted his ashes scattered here.
Oh, I didn't know I was about to kill him. I didn't know I was about to kill him. Yeah, comment, tell me what you guys are up to. Let me know. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just starting to play this thing, so I don't really know what's up. Press X to invasive roll. X. I didn't use my invasive.
He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke.
Ah, nice. Oh man, this thing takes fucking forever. I can't just like tap it. Oh man. Okay. I use my other gun? My other... whatever.
Kid spies a good perch for some target practice. He knows he should draw the string all the way back.
Alright. And triangle is triangle what I use for killing again? I actually don't remember. Whatever. I'll just something.
The kid pockets a memento from a breaker. Once the fastest man in the land.
Something shrinking. Upgrade material for a breaker's bow. Stretch for music got prized by bows and pulse ball fans. More reason for the popularity of these hunting. Chris Barnett, a fashion accessory covered in soot, okay, variety. Also holds hair, family, check, best hang onto just in case. City crest, memento, and identification badge from those days. All those in official business for the city bear the star or for the sacrifice. And it seems they took out something like 30 to 40 aircraft. X-35s, they think. Aiko, what are you talking about? Like, did something happen? Yeah, did something happen? And Muffin Master says that Stupid Transistor was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I fucking love Transistor. Oh. Why does my show keep popping up? I'm not putting my show.
Good news is the emergency defenses still work. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid.
Okay. Fuck. Alright, screwed that up a little bit. Sorry, guys. Video all over YouTube. Massive airfield strike in Crimea today. Video over YouTube, deep in Crimea. No one knows how they did it. Maybe Neptune missiles. Okay. Aiko, if you want, do you want to jump into a call? To have a conversation. That's if you're into it. If not, that's cool. We can have a more direct conversation. Like.
Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome.
Okay.
He's a mighty fast learner.
Nice. I like how they aiming stand for me. Oh shit!
Bad time to run out of black tonic.
What's this black tonic do? Yeah, okay, give you a minute? Sure.
He finds the distillery right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town.
Okay, before I go into the distillery. Anything else I can get here? Distillery and arsenal. Okay. I will go into the private room. And you guys should there. Alright, good. When our friend Michael gets here, we'll have him join us. Alright, go in.
One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man.
Okay, select the spirit for the slots. Sure. Spirit cider. I don't like this game encouraging drinking. Don't drink. Available. Plus 10 spirit cider. Plus 10 max health. Fermented squirt extract from a nose of a stale bread and ocean water. Vicious. 10% critical hit chance. Note active only when at full health. Oh, that's kind of lame. Pungent concoction that calms the sensitive nerves. Favored by breakers and other fighting forces. Okay, fetching fizz. Absorb stray fragments. Started by rank, but evolves to become popular with miners and scrappers. Metallic aftertaste. Alright. I'll It's yeah, you know what? Sure. Yeah, I'll do that. This way. Oh, there is. Not yet.
The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job.
Breakers, bows, hammer, whirlwind. Alright. This. Okay, so we have the breaker's bow, attack power increases, the blushing strong. Durable lightweight bows, colliding breaker, divisions. In order the and the name of the city. Bang repeater for fire range. Not move while firing. It loads automatically. Ammunition. Bastion from an unlucky beast gives a distinct silhouette to the silent repeating rifles once favored by Ura Hunter. Hail hammer, well balanced melee weapon. Stationary attacks with are powerful heavy duty hammers such as this. Constructed. Is famous for balls and elements supposed to like okay. I didn't assign it. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the Fang repeat. I think it's faster and easy. Okay, so we have something new. Bolt burst, a spiral, a bolt that deals damage in every direction. Interesting. Trappers will rely on this technique in the event they got surrounded. Requires 1 black tonic per use. Oh, okay, so these... Alright, I didn't realize these skills required a thing. A furious spinning strike that can damage to foes originally developed by City. Dancing slot. Breaker bow skill, a secret breaker technique that allows causes an arrow to bounce from target to target. Okay. Alright, so these things require a tonic. I guess maybe I'll stick with the hammer. But so can I not just change these out in the field? Yeah, I guess I can't. Yeah, I guess I can't do that. Hmm. Okay.
Some of them squirts birthing like crazy in a couple of corn bins.
Okay. Oh, I'm supposed to destroy these. I just get that. Alright. I just got that. Huh? It took me a while to get like I had to destroy that. Okay. I guess we'll go this way.
That one was Maud, the tutor. Once taught the kid good manners. He never used them, though.
Okay. Seems like an interesting game. Okay.
An old ferry barge
Oh,
sends the
fuck.
kid on his way.
Oh
He
shit.
better watch his step. The Bastion's real close now. Right back at you.
Seems like it's pointless to. Oh shit.
Kid takes a chunk of alloy. The smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air.
Okay, we two up with the kill hammer, chunk of precious alloy found deep in the ground, the staple diet of gas fellows also used in all manner of industry. Okay. Oh shit!
Scumbags. Kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did.
Oh shit! Oh, what the fuck? Ooh, okay. Oh, come on. Oh shit, is he?
Rob's a scumbag of his last meal.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Kid don't go down that easy.
Oh, come on.
Kid puts him out of his misery.
Oh, man. Oh. Man, that was tough. I'm just absorbing these. Okay. Alright. Man. That was crazy. Oh. Oh man, that shit was crazy. Huh. Alright, which way? Like, I gotta go the other way. First. Oh, I can't go this way. Alright, never mind. Oof.
He finds the core to the Wharf District. He steals the city's heart. Might as well.
Fun.
Kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall.
Okay.
See, that core Kid took was the only thing making this particular rock stay afloat.
Of course it was.
Kid just keeps running.
Okay. Okay. Alright. Just dealing with a lot of ass.
Whisks him where he needs to go.
Okay. Oof. It's pretty exciting.
Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive?
No, they're all dead. I guess not. Alright.
Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me.
Oh, stop.
We talk for a spell.
Guys. Alright, discuss it all.
There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest, enough to point the way to the cores.
Okay, oh. Or?
All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there, then watch.
Okay, better not be a trap, old man. I'll come back and fuck you up. Huh? Oh. Alright.
I try to let the kid down gently. This is the Bastion, all right. Except no one else showed up.
Alright.
Ain't always much to say.
Okay.
And just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again. Growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown.
This really the voiceover? Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Alright, Alright. Hey, Aiko, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right.
Oh,
hold on. Let me drop the link in.
Kid ponders.
I guess I'll drop it in YouTube chat.
okay.
Actually, I'll just drop it. Hold on. I need to get there all over again because I had to reboot.
The Bastion's a place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to.
Okay.
A repeater goes with a hammer better than a box of nails.
Okay. Can I put the distiller? Oh, alright, I guess I can't do that yet. Fine. Guess that's all I can do now. Just put the one thing. Alright, that's fine.
Alright, it's Lynn.
Okay. Hold on. Did you put that in? Oh, YouTube will
Kid don't
like
know what's out there waiting
get
for
rid
him.
of the like no one sees your link that you put there.
Oh, okay. You want me to put it in VC chat?
Yeah, put it in VC chat. Yeah, sure. But yeah, what is this thing you were talking about?
So, the first thing I saw, and I really didn't know what it was
Now
when I
the kid
first
can
saw
ride
it,
the
is
wind, the distant
there
land.
was some kind of, just sort of double mushroom clouds in Crimea.
Okay.
Yeah, just really big explosions, which we're kind of used to seeing, in Ukraine, but not really deep in Crimea. And so that one kind of threw me for a loop initially. And then later on, I found out that that was an airfield
Okay.
that had like a shit ton of fighter jets and stuff on it. The Russian fighter jets, like Su-35s and stuff like that. So the estimates are between 35 to 40 planes knocked out in
And these are
in those
Ukrainian
explosions.
planes.
No, these are Russian planes.
Russian planes. Sorry, Russian planes. Okay.
Yeah.
Russian planes that got knocked out. All right.
And in theory, they shouldn't be able to shoot missiles that far into Crimea, so no one knows how they did it. But
The breakers used to come here for
some
target
people
practice.
say
Used to
maybe
play a
you could do
little
it
game.
with
See who could bust the
with
most targets and
Neptunes.
the fewest shots.
I don't
Okay.
know.
That. Oh, nice. I'll target.
He's focused. He's armed.
1 second.
And he's off.
I suppose you. Oh, okay. This is like a challenge. It's a puzzle challenge.
Perfect
But yeah,
shot
okay.
just
So,
happens in a flash.
going back to what you were saying previously. Like, do
So
you think that
shooting
they're
one
the thing-
Russian jet in the air is like a pretty big accomplishment for them because they don't really have an air force to speak of anymore. Like they've got a handful of like old MiGs left over, from the Soviet times or whatever, and they fly them sort of sparingly, but whenever they do, they sort of squeeze all the utility out of it that they can. But this looks like they just like struck a huge blow to the Russian Air Force.
Didn't they have anti-aircraft rockets?
Well, they do, but you have to be like flying right over them for that to happen. Like this is going like I don't even know how many miles, like many miles, to get into Crimea from the nearest sort of border station. But because there's a media blackout on
Your
what's happening in
returns were some
Kherson,
of
it
the
could be that
materials
they've
we
gotten a lot further east or south than we know, and that
Sometimes
might
a
explain
single look
how they were
says it
able to
all.
pull this off. But I think the Russians, keep their airfield that far back because they think it's safe.
So with this war though, what do you think about the U.S. sending more weapons there?
I'm all for it, 100%. Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, we need to. This whole war has sort of redoubled
Maryland's at
my,
the intersection between bad and
my
wrong.
my inner neocon, I guess you'd say.
Oh, my
Like
God.
I think that if anything has sort of justified the existence of NATO, it's this. And I think for the last 20 years, we've been doing just everything wrong in terms of foreign policy when it
Ought
comes
be
to
a
the Middle
cord
East.
down one of these twisted
But I think
streets.
now we're seeing the other side of that coin as to what happens when, or what might happen if we didn't
He
have
heads for the squirt
sort of
steps.
military
Won't be no
capabilities that
field
NATO
trip this
has.
time.
Because this isn't just Ukraine acting on its own. I mean, obviously, it's in terms of personnel, it is, but they couldn't have hung out as long as they have without
Kid
Western
ain't never
aid. I
seen
mean,
an
there's just
elephant's
no way
foot
it could be
before.
done.
So I don't know how I
Scumbag and died just
necessarily
about
feel
anything.
about it.
Except for this. It's quick for
Oh, wow, this is
slicing.
really cool.
and
I don't know how I necessarily feel about it. I've heard a lot of people like make arguments that you know, like the U.S. should stay out of it, or at least rethink its strategy at the very least, right? And that like that's like the only thing you can say as a leftist, right? Like to be oh, I can charge it. Is to like be anti-war. You know, if you're anti-war, then you should just want this to end. And so like you don't want more weapons to be pushed into a battlefield. You know.
Yeah, I understand the
They
argument,
say
but
even the most rambunctious.
I mean, you know how that works with game theory, right? I mean, the
No sign
the,
of
the
core
gamers
here.
who are
At least they keep
aggressive
something for
defeat essentially the pacifist ones, right? Like, I don't see how you get out of it without
Them squirts just
creating
don't know
more
when to quit.
incentivization for Russia to do it again and again and again.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hear you on the sense of this. Again, I don't have the stance. I don't have a stance on the war.
Right.
Like not a deep stance.
Up north is where the gas fella foreman used to live.
But like,
Tended to his flock.
Just play it through with game theory. Let's say you're Putin, right? And NATO decides to allow them to. In fact, we already saw what happened when we allowed them to take Crimea without significant resistance. They were like, "Oh shit, that worked. Let's do it again." And so they did, and they took. You know, they went in this time thinking they could take all of Ukraine, but then they met
No
more
white
resistance
gas
than
fellas
they
all dress
expected,
alike.
and the Western
Kids wondering the same thing.
resistance is sort of what pushed them out to the east on Donbass. But even if we just said, okay, you can have Donbass, then they're going to want the next piece, and that's just kind of how it goes until they've taken everything. You know, what's to stop them? I know they want Lithuania next because they want a land bridge to, you know, so they're stranded territories in Kaliningrad. And if we were to let that happen, well, you know, they want Finland, and I mean, there's
But it's
the
locked down
list,
tight
the
in
grab
that
bag
narrow
list is
cage.
endless, right? And they'll go as far
Blustery
west
old
as
foreman
we'll
was
allow.
keeping his fellas in check,
And at
almost
some
like
point,
he showed
we
up.
wind up at war anyway because we draw a line and say, okay, you can't cross, or we never draw
Words
that
don't
line,
make the
and
best of friends,
there's just no
but they can
limit
be
to how
used
far
for
they go.
revenge.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. What that seems to equal, I don't know. It kind of means like our strategy is kind of on their terms, right? Like, yeah, I guess they're if they make another invasion, then we have to respond, and we have like
Kid
no
ain't
choice
trying to
about it.
pass out in the middle of the work
Um,
board.
Well, I think if we let them do that, then it's on their terms. But if we don't, if we draw the line now, then it's not on their terms, right? Because then they don't get to choose like the next one and the next one and the next one. We have to, at some point, you know, when a bully keeps coming after
And
you,
now
you've
there's
got
a
to
new
fight
marshal
back.
in town.
I mean, I don't know how. Like, this is Russian foreign policy. I
He
mean,
hears the whole
we've
place
seen them
groan,
do this,
but
and
it's too tough to follow.
you know, we've seen them do it in
Might as
Georgia.
well
We've
check
seen
the
them
other
do it
side streets before leaving this hole.
in other areas like around the Caspian Sea, and we've seen them do
The
it with
rest of the
Crimea.
path is gone for good.
They just don't
and
stop.
his city crest won't bring it back.
it's like, okay, is there an anti-war stance? Is basically what I'm trying to ask you. Is there one here, a reasonable anti-war stance that you see?
Well, the most anti-war stance is, you know, there's that old sort of
He heads for the east side.
that old
We'll
saying
win
that
back
if you
just to
want
keep the local
peace,
force.
prepare for war, right? Because if you project
place to
weakness,
find the
that's
lights,
the number
mercy
one
the
way
snows.
to
Never
ensure
much
that
cared for that
that
big
there will be
wide grin
war.
of his.
Sorry.
I think Europe has seen the light on this too. I mean, Putin, if he's accomplished anything, it's that he's united Europe against Russia, and he's, you know, there were lots of doubts about NATO before this year, and now there's none. Now there's none. Finland has joined, or is in the process of joining. Sweden
I think the
is
doubts
joining.
came from like I don't know. It seemed to me like the doubts came from Donald Trump. You know, like Donald Trump.
The doubts came from Donald Trump and Marine Le Pen and the Brexit Party in the UK and the AfD in Germany. These are all far-right parties that have aligned themselves with Putin. And all of them were sort of vying for leadership in all of their respective countries. And now they've collapsed. They've totally collapsed throughout Europe. Because now everyone is clear-eyed about the danger of that Russia stuff. And nobody wants, like, AfD has lost what the seats that it had gained over the years, like in the last 10 years, AfD in Germany, in these like state elections that have happened since the invasion, they've been losing them. They've been going from like 12 seats to 0, like in all these different state elections. Same thing's been happening, you know, like Le Pen looked like she was surging for this last election. And then, you know, as more bellicose as Russia got, her popularity waned as well. Like, you know, and the only reason that didn't happen to the Tories in the UK is because they're anti-Russia. They're very anti-Russia.
Like new again.
Boris was very anti-Russia. That sort of saved his party. Like, he's gone from party leadership because of internal scandals, but the party's not gone because no one like sees the party as pro-Russian the way they saw, say, the Brexit Party there, which has also lost its support. So, you know, Europe has regained its unity, at least for now.
Yeah, for now. Oh my god.
For now, but I think, you know, it's going to have a big challenge over the winter because, you know, Russia's cut off their natural gas, and, you know, if they can stay united throughout the winter, which I think they can, then that's it for Russia, I think. That's going to be the big push. They're holding out to see if NATO's unity will collapse in the face of, you know, of a winter without Russian gas. That's going to be the big challenge. But, I mean, it's hardly the same sacrifice as we went through in World War II. You're not going to have to, like, you know, save up your scrap metal and buy bread coupons or whatever.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
At the very least, yes, we won't be destitute. Do you think that war should come with sacrifice?
Yes, of course. I mean, well, I should say that if you're now, of course, us Catholics, we have something called just war theory, and there's a whole set of rules for that on what makes a war a just war.
Okay.
But what it comes down to is you have to have a reasonable chance of winning, because fighting a hopeless war is immoral, because then you're killing and dying for nothing.
One second. Let me bring in my man Wick. I didn't realize you were there. Hey, what up?
Oh, right. Okay. Hey.
Oh, it's all good. I was just listening to you guys go on, right, for a little bit, right?
Hey, this is a little preview for Friday.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I was like, oh wow, I wonder if these same arguments are gonna be brought up.
Some of these will, yeah. It all depends on what people go for. I've got 15 independent arguments right now. I doubt that I'll get to talk about all of them.
Not gonna lie to you, you may have overprepared. Just
yeah, well, no. The way it works, this is also the way it works in academic debates. You come in with about 600 to 800 arguments, and you get to use maybe 8 in a round. So it just all depends on where the conversation goes.
You liking this game, by the way, Time?
Yeah, I'm loving. Oh, I'm loving it. It's
can't float like when he was.
It's a chill game.
Yeah, it's pretty chill. I like a lot so
He's
far.
ready to go, and his ticket out is right where it
I
started.
yeah, like I said, I think I told you before that I only played Transistor previously.
Yes.
From this developer, and yeah, this is I've wanted to play this for years. I just never had the opportunity, and until tonight I was like, fuck it, why not do it? Yeah. But it's pretty chill. Okay, I'm just like fucking around now. Where do I go? Oh, can I just leave now? I think I could. Went down all the side streets.
I actually have a question for you, Aiko, if I may.
Please.
So you mentioned, and I think you're right, that a lot's going to depend on if Europe can stay kind of have a united front uh, when it comes to the pressures, especially on Germany, right, with their gas and
Right.
power issues.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, at some point, China will tip the scales a little towards Russia in this? Do you think that there's any chance of that? That was talked about a lot at the beginning of all this, but China, at least publicly, kind of distanced themselves from Putin, right?
You mean, do you think they'll be willing to or able to?
Either one.
I think yes, for sure they'll be willing to. I think they're a little bit scared of international repercussions. They're not going to want to. They're not going to want to dip their toes too far in it, but I think they'll do whatever they can behind the scenes to help Russia.
Okay.
But I don't think there's much that they can do because there's not a like.
There's not a lot of infrastructure that would allow them to, because
Yeah,
when it comes to sanctions, especially, right? Like that's what I'm thinking that they could have the biggest impact is relieving some of the sanctions that the West have put on Russia, right?
Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to, right? Because in terms of all they could really do is buy Russian oil or something like that, and they just don't need it. They've got they've been developing their own sort of coal resources and stuff like that. So if they were going to buy anything from Russia, it would be coal because that that's what they have the most of need of. But they still don't need that much compared to what they're developing domestically, and also the kind of coal that they burn isn't the same as what Russia has the most of. And also they're building out like just amazing amounts of wind and solar, and they also have their own sort of raw mineral processing and stuff, so they don't really need to go outside their own borders for lithium or cobalt and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean what they are buying, they'll probably buy from Russia, but it won't. It's nothing anywhere.
You don't see it having an impact. Okay.
Well, it's just not going to replace what Europe was buying for them. Europe was their major market, and they've lost it. So,
as I see this, right? Like as I see this kind of drag out and turn from a what was supposedly and everyone thought would be relatively quick war in Russia's favor to being something more attrition based, much more attrition based. Yeah. I think that Putin is going to get more and more desperate and is going to be willing to make more and more concessions in order for more material support. And my concern here, and I don't know how, again, I'm not familiar enough with the current status of things to really say how valid these concerns are. But my concern here is that China will at least materially try to keep Russia in it longer, if that makes sense.
Well, I got the opposite impression.
Okay.
I get the sense that China would like Russia to get out, but China is also not willing to pressure Russia in any way because they need Russia as a friend because they have some sort of common cause with the Taiwan thing. Let me put it this way: part of the reason Russia, if you can believe it, and especially at the beginning of the war, was holding back in terms of the atrocities that it was willing to commit, was because it didn't want China to get cold feet on all this stuff, and it wanted to try to get some buy-in, at least with countries that.
They made what's the word? They kind of floated the idea. It seemed to have floated the idea for China to come in and support them much more strongly. Right, come out and support them much more strongly.
Well, they're still going to do everything they can to do that, and so they need at least plausible deniability on a lot of the war crimes that they're committing over there, and so they want at least some of it to be less obvious than it otherwise could be, because it could be a lot worse. Like they could be entirely leveling whole cities to the ground. which is what they were willing to do in Syria, for instance, and in Chechnya.
Yeah.
But they haven't gone full Syria and Chechnya on Ukraine yet.
And you think that's at least partly because they are still trying and hoping for China's support, or?
Yeah, I mean they've given up on the West, right? I mean they know
Yeah,
that they're not going to get support from. At first, they thought that they could divide the West on these issues, and they've given up on that at this point.
If there's a
So now I think they're just going for the much lower bar of trying to, at least meet standards that China can support.
Sure. Do you think that there's a point where the U.S., at least, or anyone in the West, really, intervenes more directly than they have been? Do you think that we are ever at that point? Like, look at the atrocities they have committed, right? Is there any kind of red line for Biden, for example, in your opinion?
No, I mean I don't think so. I think the red line would be if they crossed over into NATO. That would be the red line. I think beyond that, I mean, if you look at the gains that Ukraine has been making, especially since the MLRS systems came into play, HIMARS is the longest range and most accurate of the MLRS, but they've been getting different kinds from different countries. HIMARS is what they're getting from the United States. Like this kind of stuff they've been able to accomplish with that is just, it seems like every day there's a couple more ammo depots that are going up in smokes, and like those ammo depots, like they have a tremendous amount of ammunition in them. And so for those to, I mean, Russia just can't allow those to keep going up in smoke like that. They're going to run out. They're running out of raw materials with which to build more.
So I guess the question would be, at what point does Putin go full Syria, for lack of a term?
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows. Right?
Do you think that
I would be a fool to say I knew.
Sure, but do you think that there is any chance of him backing off of this before he does? Because, at least in my opinion, I think he's in it to win it, right? Like, and I think it's only a matter of time before he's willing to go full Syria, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To say he's in it to win it is I mean, it might be that winning is not the option, is not in the cards. So then the question is he willing to fail there and like totally collapse things, or is he willing to do a withdrawal and just say, declare victory and use propaganda to, convince his favorite streamers to say that he won anyway. That's we all know the streamers that would say that straight away. If they withdrew tomorrow, there's a bunch of them, and I say streamers as a metaphor because really what I'm saying is RT and all the other media around the world that do his bidding too. But there are some streamers too on Twitch who would happily do the same.
I worry a little bit, right? Like, because I have been keeping an eye on the situation here and there, and I am by no means a general or a strategist or any of that, right? But I've been trying to get as accurate a feel as I can, just from the reports that I've been reading, from the various reporting from various news media and sites. And one of the things I'm worried about is we're kind of getting high on our own supply when it comes to Ukraine and their victories, right? And absolutely, they've done better than anyone's expected, and they are hurting Russia in large ways. But I worry that we, in the interest of being supportive and being allies, are getting ourselves worked up for a inevitable Ukrainian victory that I don't know is actually inevitable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, victory is a really strong word. To me, it sounds more like it's going to be a slog like Vietnam.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think anybody would say, Vietnam won a great victory by the end of that. I think it's more just that, America eventually just had no choice but to leave. And to me, that seems to me the direction that things are going. But that took years. And Russia may be prepared to continue doing this for years. The problem is, the Dnieper River is the big dividing line.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Russians are going to get pushed out of Kherson and all of that territory west of the Dnieper. But once that happens, like all the bridges are blown, it's not at all easy to establish a beachhead on the other side of that river. It could just be that Russia occupies eastern Ukraine for a good long time.
I think actually might be Putin's way of declaring victory, if that makes sense. Is because
Yeah, I guess
that
so. But
dividing line.
as soon as he leaves, the Ukrainians can take over that territory.
Yeah,
Which
but
means
that's
he
the
has
thing.
to
Like
he
you
has to
mentioned this
occupy for.
dividing line, right? You mentioned this
Oh.
dividing line, and it's hard to get a beachhead that works both ways, right?
Well, it does work both ways, yeah, and that's to Ukraine's
I
advantage right
still
now.
remember the look
And
on
then
his
in the
face after
north,
that one.
Ukraine, it's easier because the Dnieper doesn't, it's not as big up in the north, so they could probably cross there and sort of push east a little bit. But I think it's certainly doable for Russia to hold uh, uh, the east, like Donbass, for a
Yeah,
good
Donbass
long
and
time.
the other one.
Folks
A
always
good long
trust the
time. And the only
boundless
question
sea,
is,
the
are they
found
willing to
Zealandia.
commit Russian
You were good
forces who would
living
then
here
be
for a
dying?
while.
Like the war that we thought we were going to see from the beginning was that Russia
Was a
would
quick one.
take.
Russia was just
No, no,
gonna.
no, 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 no. I mean, I guess, but it's not what I.
The old
That's not
world's
what this.
finished,
What I
but the new
expected was
world's
something
just getting
like
started.
Iraq, where you take the whole country quickly, but then you have to fight like an insurgency for years.
Makes
Right?
time to set
That's the way it
the
happened in
spirits
Afghanistan.
revive.
That's the way it
Personal
happened in
supply.
Iraq, and also the way it happened in Afghanistan for the Russians. And what I expected was for them to take the whole country, but then to have to occupy it for a long time and fight this insurgency for a long time. Now, that didn't happen because the Ukrainians were a lot more resourceful than anybody expected, or the Russians were a lot more shitty than anyone expected.
True.
And so they got pushed back to Donbass straight away. But they could still now be forced to fight that sort of war of attrition within the Donbass.
In Donbass region. Okay.
Yeah,
Now
and
they have been
that would be very expensive for them to do while the entire world is sanctioning them.
fair. Though I do wonder, right? Like because they have shown their willingness to invest into the Donbass region, right? Like even prior to this war, they had the little green men, so to speak, in the region causing issues, fomenting violence and other things. Like this has been happening for years before they invaded. So I wonder if they've been able to build up a level of infrastructure or support there that they weren't in the rest that will allow it to be a little less painful. I don't know. Like that's this is not something I don't know. I'm not privy to.
Well, it's more that
It's not for everyone.
I'd say about maybe 30 to 35% of Donbass is ethnic Russians.
Yeah.
So they have a lot more of indigenous population there that are willing to join with the Russian soldiers to
In theory, at least, yeah.
yeah, I mean, not all of the Russian speakers are on Russia's side for sure, but some are, and so that's at least they've got those people to draw from in those regions, as opposed to the West where they have nobody, like they have nothing. So that's probably one of the reasons why they wanted to stay where they could at least have some of the population on their side, as opposed to having 100% of the population against them. It's why, incidentally, Crimea was the first and easiest thing to take, because that area is more like 70% ethnic Russians. So they have the majority of the population, that speak Russian, consider themselves ethnically Russian at least, and so it was even easier to keep Crimea than.
Do you think that there's any realistic scenario? Oh, you know what, Prime? I'm sorry if I'm just jumping on and stealing
No,
your
it's
thunder
fine.
here.
I like hearing what you guys have to say. It's cool.
Okay. I just didn't want to
No,
suck all the
you're good.
oxygen out of it. I guess to you then, Aiko, because I'm curious. Do you think there's any realistic scenario where Russia holds on to the contested regions, Donbass and the other one keeps slipping my mind, and simply just is able to hold on to that and kind of loses the rest, right? They get messed with it, but are able to say, hey, look, we've stopped going beyond these points, beyond these borders, do you think there's any realistic scenario where the West lessens sanctions on them because of that?
That won't depend on us, really. It'll depend on Zelensky and the
Yeah,
Ukrainian government. So if they decide, if they, negotiate a peace with Russia where Russia keeps Donbass, or Donbass becomes this sort of, independent sort of territory that doesn't belong to either country or something like that. Whatever deal they make, the West will back it. Like they've pretty much made it clear that whatever Zelensky wants or whatever the Ukrainian government wants, and right now that's being led by Zelensky.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, the West will honor. Like we're not going to say, "Fuck you," we're going to keep fighting Russia. No.
It's
like
relatively easy for me to find reports on Russian losses, to find reports on Russian material losses, ammo dumps being destroyed. I've had a much more difficult time finding the opposite, where what I mean by that is finding reports on Ukrainian losses, right?
And who knows what's, it's 170,000 Russian losses reported out by the Ukrainians, but who knows
what the actual number.
Like, both sides are likely to, be optimistic in the numbers that they report. So I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit easier to trust accounts of like Russian tanks getting destroyed and things like that, because the Ukrainians are really good at providing video evidence of every single piece of hardware that they destroy.
Equipment kills, yeah.
But being able to count everybody, that's way harder. So I mean, they're making an attempt, but they don't have video evidence attached to every kill that they make. So I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how because Russia absolutely is hurting when it comes to material and troops and things, but they aside from the West helping Ukraine, right, material wise, there has to come a point, right, where Ukraine simply can't anymore, can't arm their people, can't it doesn't have the manpower, if that makes sense.
I guess so, but one would think that about a lot of wars.
Yeah, I just don't know where
about Vietnam, that it
that's true as well, right? And there's just so many unknowns that I hesitate. I hope that you're right. I hope that the people who are being very optimistic are right. I'm hesitant to go that far with it.
I don't think you have to be optimistic to favor the fighting. I think you just have to be pessimistic for what happens if you don't fight.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I think even if they lose eventually, they need to. They have to.
Yeah, this is an existential war for them.
Exactly.
Right?
They have to. My
because the Russians do not want ethnic Ukrainians to
exist. Yeah, so it would be even in Crimea, right? We forget that they had actual camps that they would bring people to. They were pretty bad,
they've been shipping tens of thousands of Ukrainian children.
It's horrific.
Into Russia to be raised as Russian children.
Oh yeah, and
we'll never see them again.
Right? This isn't new.
It's for Ukraine. The Soviets used to do that stuff all the time.
Yeah, in Crimea they've done it, when they annexed Crimea back in 2014.
Place gets awful slick sometimes.
This was happening then. But I guess the only reason I'm being a little doomer here about this is because I worry that if we get too laissez-faire about this, Russia's getting its ass kicked, Russia's losing, obviously, it might make us less willing to make sacrifices to help Ukraine. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, that's what the winter's all about, because the sacrifices that we have to make, for one thing, Biden was really smart in that he passed just a ginormous bill to fund Ukraine into the future, because he thought that American support might flag, our enthusiasm might wane, and it hasn't done it yet. But he thought it might, and so he wanted to get a shit ton of money reserved that he'd be able to start spending, so that when we hit that point, he wouldn't have to then go ask Congress for money that Congress wasn't willing to give. Right?
Can I?
We're not to that point yet. If he asked for more Ukraine money now, I'm pretty sure the Russians, the Congress and the Republicans and everybody would say yes, because Republicans are still very much in support of this war.
So let me ask you this: at the beginning of the war, right? And I still hold this position. This is well, no, I'll ask before I tell you my stance on it. Okay. Um, Biden comes out tomorrow to the American people and say, look,
Steffi says that Wick, you're her wild stallion.
Steffi, you are amazing. We love you, Steffi. Thank you, Steffi. I am your wild stallion. And I can be Prime's wild stallion too, if you want. But to my question here, real quick, right? So Biden comes out tomorrow and holds a press conference and says, "Hey, gang, we have some new info. We've talked it over, right?
War machetes are so quick. You
Due
gotta keep a
to
good
the
grip on 'em.
absolute genocidal things that Russia is doing in Ukraine right now, the massive amounts of war crimes that they're doing, the massive cost in human life that Ukrainians are suffering, we have decided to go boots on the ground here. We are putting some forces on the ground to support the Ukrainians directly. Is that something you would support?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, why not?
No. Well, I don't think it's necessary. I think that the weapons, if this were, if this were like the Middle East, like if we were expecting like Afghanistan to field an army with American weapons to whatever to fend off the Taliban or whatever, like we saw how that worked. That didn't work. But the Ukrainians are way more effective on the field than anyone gave them credit for.
Sure.
That's true.
And I just don't think that
Let's say it could turn this 10-year war to a 1-year war.
I think we would have to find other ways to do that. Like, for instance, putting NATO ships in the Black Sea.
You would even if we could reduce the human cost or something for like and reduce it by an astronomical scale, you would be against putting boots on the ground.
Well, because the astronomical scale is the nuclear war that you're risking anytime you do anything that's escalatory in that fashion. And to me, that's just too great of a risk.
It's too great of a risk.
But here's the thing, like. I could be wrong. Like State Department and the Pentagon are far better than I am to evaluate the risks on these sorts of things. And our generals talk to a lot of generals on the Russian side too. There's a lot of like unofficial back channels communication happening, stuff like that. So obviously they're gonna know like a shit ton more than like what we would know, and so they might make a different decision than I would. And at this point, I would trust their judgment on this more than my own.
Well, obviously, right? This is a stream.
Well, that's not always the case, right? Like I wouldn't trust the judgment of the Trump administration over my own on that.
But
like
either way,
you
wouldn't like we don't have an actual say in it.
Well, we do as voters. Like that's the unfortunate.
Voting.
The unfortunate position of being in a democracy is we're asked to make these decisions at the voting booth, even though a lot of us maybe aren't intellectually qualified to do so. So we kind of do. It's like it is our responsibility to know as much as we can because we are affecting policy by voting and by having discourse and all the other things that we do, in a democracy.
So I'll tell you my take on this. This is my take I had from near the beginning, right? And I still like I said, Ukrainians did better than I expected, right? And I don't know if it's strictly necessary, but I would still advocate for it because I think it could reduce the suffering. And I frankly, I do not believe Putin when he says he would threaten. I just don't think they would do it. I don't think there's any realistic chance. As long as we don't get into Russia, right? As long as we don't cross that line. If we stayed in Ukraine, right? I don't think he pushes the button, right? I think that what we don't even need to do boots on the ground. If we just provided air support, if we just created no-fly zones, right, saying Russia will not be able to support through the air or with missiles or anything in Ukraine. I think that could reduce the cost of the war on the Ukrainian side. I think it would reduce the time of the war. I think it would reduce the suffering overall. And like I said, I just don't think Putin's going to pull that trigger.
I mean, we can say that, but let's say...
Sure, that's just me talking, right? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's a certain line domestically in terms of like expecting certain policies to happen where I can say, okay, well, I don't think he'll do that, but then the moment he does, I wouldn't want anybody coming up to me and saying, hey, you said this wouldn't happen, and
they
now
would be able to. They would be right.
I think it would happen. I don't think it would. I don't think if this global thermonuclear war would be instantaneously touched off. I think it'd be more like Putin might set off a tactical nuke in some region of Ukraine that's sparsely populated, just to show how serious he is.
I honestly think that there's more of a risk of him doing that the more this drags out. Right? Like, I think that's the greater risk. I think I'm waiting for it to happen. I'm honestly semi-surprised he hasn't done it yet.
Well, this is the reason, that Biden is so careful to say we will never cross into Russia. We sold them when we gave them the HIMARS. We made them pledge that no HIMAR would ever cross the border into Russia before we would ever give it to them. And all
but they're shooting into Ukraine, into Crimea.
Well, Crimea is not Russia.
I know, but so, Russia doesn't think so, right? Like.
Yeah, but Russia understands like the differences there. I mean, they're occupying Crimea, and the world recognizes that as part of Ukraine.
I just think that the longer this draws out, the more desperate Putin gets, right? I think that the risk of him doing a tactical nuke on a Ukrainian city just rises the more and more it happens. And if
nobody knows what the proportional response is to that. Like, if they do a tactical nuke, does that mean NATO shoots a tactical nuke? Like, and then you start to get
not. I hope not. Right?
But if we do nothing, then Putin goes, oh, okay, then I guess it's open season, and he shoots off as many as he wants. I mean, at some point, then we're right back into that situation where if we don't do anything, then
no place better than
you're just encouraging more.
Learning to tread light and shoot.
Because if he gets the sense that he can use nukes with impunity, tactical, I mean, with impunity, then he'll just do that, and he'll just keep going. He'll just keep marching.
And I think, again, he still thinks that he can win it without it, right? Like, and this may be cope on his part. I don't know.
I think he believes that the Russian people are capable of enduring suffering, and that the West is soft and will collapse with the first winter without natural gas. I think that's what he thinks. So
Germany
I think it
would be the weak link there, right?
Sort of, but they've got 5 floating LNG terminals that'll be done at the end of this year.
Yes. So we'll see, right?
So, and we've got enough natural gas to be able to send a heck of a lot of LNG ships over there. And, it'll probably get expensive. Fuel will get expensive for that winter in Germany. But I think they make it to the other end of that winter, and Russia's screwed at that point. Like, I don't think the next winter will be anywhere near as bad.
We'll have more infrastructure. They'll have more infrastructure, et cetera.
Yep.
So it's all about crisis points. It's all about risk points, and I think that after this winter, the risk for them using tactical nuke, especially if the West doesn't break, go up astronomically. Again, that's why I think that we could do more, right, for the Ukrainian people directly, and I think we should. And I get the risks. I get that it's scary. I just, again, if we do it right, I don't think Putin pulls that trigger. Well, but that's just a disagreement. We can.
Biden knows what his options are. The Joint Chiefs know what the options are, and if at some point they determine that that's necessary, I mean, I support them. Like, there's nothing that's going to get me not to vote Democratic in November or in 2 years after that. So I'm just going to have to trust the decisions they make on that. But
I don't know if I'd say there's nothing that could lose me Democratic support. There are things that I could.
There's nothing that's likely to happen.
Yeah, that's a much more reasonable thing because. I don't.
I suppose if I decide to assassinate DeSantis, then I would. I might be okay with it though.
Yeah, that's not. Wow, I don't know. But no. I'm gonna go watch Prey, gang.
Okay,
But thank.
Prey is amazing. I
That's what
saw
you
that.
told me.
Oh, that was me who told me.
Yeah,
What did
you
you,
told me it, and I was like, you know what? I looked it up. It has very great audience reviews. I was like, have I been sleeping on this?
guys? Whoever out there in the audience, if you haven't done so yet, you should watch after we're done watching.
But
You
I'll
should
keep keep
watch.
keep keep
Prey.
Prep kind of view because I'm going
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Watch Prey on Hulu. Right, it's the Predator. Like it's a Predator sequel slash reboot. It's kind of a little bit of it's like a
Prequel,
little
right?
reboot. Yeah, it's like a prequel. But like it's really good. Fantastic acting. Like the action is amazing. You're gonna thank me for it. So like watch Prey. So yeah, my man Wick is gonna check it out right now apparently. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
really really good movie. I was super impressed.
Okay, I'll see you guys Friday,
All right,
if
all
not
right.
sooner. So,
Yep.
bye.
See you, buddy.
Speaking of nerd stuff, Sandman just came out.
Yeah.
Just
I've never
dropped.
read the comics. Um,
Oh
I
yeah, it's
know,
old school.
I know. It's legendary. It's legendary, guys. Supposed everyone says I got to read the Sandman. I know it's good. I just haven't gotten around to it.
The
Um,
Presence is in it, which you may know from other stuff in DC, and of course, I'm sure Lucifer will be in it.
John Constantine's is part of it, right?
John Constantine had an ancestor who lived like 400 years ago or something like that, and her name is Joanna Constantine. And apparently she time travels or whatever, but she's from like Shakespearean England, and she'll be in it. So whether or not John shows up, I don't know yet.
So
But Joanna, do.
it's not a movie though. It's a series, right?
It's a series, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
I'll check it out. I thought it was might be a movie. I'm like,
And
if
I
they're
don't know
trying to
what
distill this
version of
down.
John we're gonna get because there is a HBO Max was doing a Constantine show that I don't know if it's gotten canceled yet or not with all this new Discovery buyout stuff. But there was going to be a Constantine show on HBO Max, and all I knew about it was that the guy playing John Constantine was black. Now I don't know if that was supposed to cross over with this show in any way. Probably not because it's different networks. So that would mean it would be a different actor anyway.
Too bad about
And
the
now
must you have
with
to taste.
Arrowverse gone and that HBO Max, I think that Constantine show has been canceled. So that makes me think that John Constantine, if he's not in this, would show up in season 2 because they wouldn't have to worry about the rights anymore. So that's cool.
Yeah. I think in terms of Constantine, I'm not like huge into that side of DC. I mean I know of him. I've read comics with Constantine. I've seen him in the CW stuff.
You got to read the original Hellblazer.
Is it really that good? I don't know.
It's
I
really
don't know.
good. It's really good.
I should give it a try. I should give it a try.
It's their Dark Label. Like it's defunct now, but they used to have a thing called Dark Label where they would do a lot of adult stuff, and it was a higher quality writing. In fact, that's where Neil Gaiman got his start, was doing Dark Label for DC.
The dead welcome him with open
And
arms.
so I think John Constantine got his start with Swamp Thing. So if you think Swamp Thing is cool, actually I think Swamp Thing started. I can't remember which came
The
first,
calamity
but
took everybody after
either
all.
Constantine started in Swamp Thing's comic books or the other way around.
Kids sees a plane,
But anyway,
frozen
actually I
faces
think
all
for the
around.
magic stuff, I think DC's better than Marvel.
You don't much care to see.
Uh,
Not like this.
I might.
I know
agree with you on
people
that.
love Doctor Strange, but there's so many really good characters in DC with regards to that, like Swamp Thing and John Constantine and the Spectre and Phantom Stranger. All those people.
All right. I really. Something's going on with my control right now, so that's why like the shield keeps popping up and it's super annoying.
Right.
But sorry, I'm just talking to the audience. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. In terms of magic, you're probably right. Like Doctor Strange, I think it's very limited in Marvel when it comes to that.
Right.
Like I like John Constantine does the whole dark, mysterious,
Yes,
yeah,
unpretentious, you know.
yeah, and like I don't know, he's like a
These folks
consummate
never saw
badass.
the
I guess.
calamity coming.
Yeah.
But someone did.
Yeah.
Someone close.
And I always liked the Phantom Stranger, and I always liked. Oh, you know, my very first comic book, like back in the day, was Dead Man. Do you know that character?
Oh fuck. Dead Man. Yeah, Dead Man. The guy, he's like in red, and he goes into people. He possesses their bodies.
Yes. Yeah. I thought that was the coolest power when I was a kid. Like, I don't know how you beat him, because he just takes over your body and makes you do what he wants. Like, he just march you right down to the jail and turn yourself in.
There are some
What are you
people
gonna
you
do?
can't possess though.
Someone who ain't like Mr. Beckley.
Yeah, he can't possess Batman, or you can't possess Batman for very long. Like,
think he
Batman
can't
senses it.
Okay.
He has
please.
too much mental
It was someone
discipline,
like him.
so he can possess Batman for like a few seconds, and then Batman will like concentrate him out of there.
Yeah, I think
Kid sees him there agape. In the
I
flesh.
think people with strong wills.
It's a snag or two
Yeah.
trying to get
Right. So he probably, I've never seen him try to do it, but he probably would have a hard time with Hal Jordan too, because he's
Yeah, I
got
would
it.
imagine.
Yeah.
What the fuck is on my... Oh,
He's
God.
got so many questions after all.
Which, by the way, I know you're a big Green Lantern fan, so this might be a controversial opinion, but I've always been a Guy Gardner fan.
That's fine. I think Hal
Ain't got
Jordan's
time for
extremely boring.
answers.
Yeah, Hal's the least interesting of all of them, I think.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you agree. Like, he has no
Yeah.
fucking
The
personality.
Thunder Brothers.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
he's just
That's
like,
probably
oh.
why his willpower is so strong, because all of his brain is focused on just will and nothing else.
Yeah, like, like, the best that he has going for him is like, oh, I'm like a
They never
maverick,
saw
you
what
know?
it
I'm
was like beyond the wall.
like,
Yeah.
I'll take so many risks, you know? Like, and he keeps talking about his dad in a fucking, well, that's his Bruce Wayne moment, honestly. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
is like with his father and,
And he has a really bad girlfriend who
Bird
keeps
Boy
turning into a villain.
Didn't make it.
well, I mean, well, actually, I haven't read in years, so I'm not sure if she's still a villain, but she became
They
Star
figured
Sapphire.
out. Yeah, they turned that into its own like power ring, like
Yeah.
color set, power set,
Yeah.
or whatever,
yours.
and they've now sort of retconned it so that she was a villain, but it was only because something was wrong with her ring in particular, or whatever. It got warped or twisted somehow. But the power set actually is actually love, and therefore it's positive and good force.
He survived.
Yeah.
But
Love.
when I was
love,
growing up, she was
right.
just a straight up bad guy. Or Carol Ferris was good, but whenever she turned into Star Sapphire, she would turn evil.
Yeah.
That's the Carol Ferris I
Kid
remember.
finds proof enough that.
But I
man
know
ain't
that
from
that's
around here.
no longer the case.
Yeah, I think that well, Star Sapphire. I mean, I like the retcon, you know, because I like the cores. I love.
Yeah.
Just think.
My only
Without
problem
that
with the
man,
cores, right?
we
And
wouldn't
here's
be
the
here
thing that I
right
hated
now,
so much about the
would we?
Green Lantern cores, or not the Green Lantern cores, is that I was afraid that they would overdo it, and I felt like they started to do that a bit. And I haven't read in a while, so I'm not sure if
I think they did it. Yeah. But
they've like
it's
pulled
okay.
back. But like, my problem was that like I didn't. I like that Green Lantern goes to situations, fights different enemies, and uses his ring in creative ways to deal with them. But if you just
Right.
have different lanterns of different colors, and it's just like, well, you know, these green guys fight like the orange guys, right? And then
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's always unclear how powerful something is, because sometimes 3 lanterns are 3 times more powerful than 1 lantern, which makes sense. But then sometimes it's not that way. Sometimes you can have 1,000 of them, and they're no more powerful than just one guy with it's always inconsistent.
course survives as well.
It's really impossible to measure
Kid does what he has to do.
relative power
then-
between ring wielders. That's
Um,
one of the reasons I always liked
What do you say to
the
a
Golden
man who's
Age,
seen too
the
much?
Alan Scott, because
Kid hasn't a clue.
he was able
But
to,
he says
there's
this.
only one of them, and he was magical,
We have
and
to
he was
go.
different from all the
Please.
other lanterns out in the universe. He was kind of unique.
So my problem, yeah. So they had like
He's a
a.
proper gentleman, that man.
Oh, one second. Let
His
me.
name is Zolf.
Oh, I
No
can
hiding
share my
he's an
screen
Ura.
with you.
Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Ceylon.
I can see it on the YouTube.
You're delayed.
He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind, both to him and to each other, for the first time.
Yeah. There was a TV show. It was for kids, like younger kids. I imagine it got canceled relatively quickly, but it was like, Adventures of Green Lantern. And it was Green Lantern versus Atrocitus, right? So it was greens versus reds. That was it. It was exactly what I was afraid.
Atrocitus doesn't seem very kid friendly.
Yeah, I know, but like scaled down version. Not the regular version. Yeah.
Right. The Holocaust for kids.
Yeah, the Holocaust for kids. Yeah, so like this is exactly what I was afraid of. It would just be like, the green guys versus the red guys, right? Red guys are bad guys, green guys are good guys, and they shoot pew 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 with their lasers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a big fan of that. Kilowog's another favorite. I'd say Kilowog, Guy Gardner, Alan Scott, and then after that probably John Stewart would be my top 4.
Yeah, I like Kilowog.
We all lost.
And then the
loved ones
floating
that
like
plan A,
Buddha guy.
I don't know how I'm gonna go on without mine.
Floating Buddha guy?
Yeah, he looks almost like a baby. And he sort of floats like, in the lotus position. He's a
Is he
He's a
the one
Green
from
Lantern.
like the future Justice League?
Yes, I think he is. Come to think of it, yeah, he's Batman Beyond
He was born in the Tazzle terminals.
era.
The Ura sent him on a mission of peace to our
Now that
city,
you mention it,
and he's lived here ever since.
Yeah.
We fought the Ura decades ago, but that was then. Things
Yeah,
are
that
different
was
between us now.
much later. And then there's like a version where, do you remember that Green Lantern from, he's not a Kryptonian, he's the other thing.
Daxamite.
Daxamite, yeah.
Come on, give the
Oh, a
one time
Daxamite Green Lantern. I'm not aware of.
Yeah, there's a Daxamite Green Lantern. At least there was back in my day when I was still
Right.
reading DC. But yeah, there's a Daxamite Green Lantern. He
Seems a little bit overpowered.
yeah, he fought. They never focused in on him. I think because he was the idea of being so overpowered, he never like was joining the Corps proper. I don't think. Like he was there for a little bit, but then he left. It was a long
Seems
time
like
ago since I read
lead
the
would
story.
be too common an element to. So he'd be able to like screen the lead out of him with the ring, probably.
So what happened was he ended up fighting Superboy Prime during
Oh, right, yeah.
Infinite Crisis. And
I
then
vaguely remember that now that you mention it. Yeah.
Superboy Prime, like they end up fighting with any nuclear reactor, and Superboy Prime stabbed him with one of the rods, and so that was his weakness. And then I think the ring was keeping him alive. Basically, they tried to they kind of nerfed him a little bit, in that way. In any case, in
Well, he
one
would be
possible
nerfed.
future, in one possible future, they like he becomes the final lantern, and he's like guarding like a busted what's it called
The
again?
battery.
The battery, yes, the massive main OA battery, right? So he was
Right.
like guarding it, and then he builds up, and he's like his Green Lantern oath basically says that like the Green Lantern will be the only color or something like that.
Right.
It was a long time since I saw it, but yeah, it's something along those lines. That's pretty cool.
It seems like you wouldn't have to nerf him against Superboy Prime because if he's the main universe Daxamite, then he would be as strong as a regular Kryptonian. And then Superboy Prime is Silver Age powered, which is like off the charts. Like there's
Yeah.
no comparison. Like
Yeah.
because Silver Age Superman could like tow planets and stuff. So like, whereas Superman in the main universe can like maybe lift a building.
That
At
ought to
most.
make those fangs sink in nice and deep.
Like nowhere near the power of Silver Age.
Superboy Prime is my favorite villain from DC. I
Okay,
love
that makes
Superboy
sense.
Prime. He is so much fun.
He sort of destroyed my childhood dreams of who Superman was, but yeah.
He was, and that's great. Like, right? I mean,
Well, I remember him when he was first created because they first created him like as just this innocent character. Like,
yeah,
he actually came from our Earth. He came from the Earth that reads comic books or whatever. And then it was just a one shot, like a long, long time ago. And then when they decided to make him the villain, they went back and said, "Hey, there's this character from 25 years ago that we did. Oh yeah, let's bring him back and make him the villain."
yeah. Superboy and the Prime Earth. DC, that's where DC Comics actually
Kid
is.
finished here.
And they had I haven't they like receive
Sort of like
inspiration from
Gwenpool.
dreams from other realities,
Yeah.
and that's how they wrote their comics, right? Like when they would dream, they would like see the
Right.
stories from other realities, and yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Just like Gwenpool.
The cores. They remember.
Same.
That's why this place is
backstory.
coming together. That's why things are gonna be all right.
so, yeah,
Well, look what we have here.
different. Yeah.
Sort of almost very fourth wall breaking.
But like Superboy Prime and just like how crazy he got. Oh my god, he's crazy. And okay, that moment in Infinite Crisis, right? Where he's working with that Lex Luthor. I forget like the name of him. But like the
Alexander.
Alexander Luthor, thank you. Yeah, he's working for Alexander Luthor. And he's doing like various things like to cause the crisis to happen. And he goes to Earth and he accidentally kills like heroes because like they were in his way, right? And he accidentally kills them. He's like, "No, I'm so sorry," right? And then like the team that he's facing thinks he's a threat. He's like, "Guys, no, I didn't mean it," right? And then he kills someone else, and they're like, "You're a fucking menace." And then he freaks out and starts murdering everybody. He just, it was great. Oh my god, there's so many good moments from that. I love that. That was such I want to reread that. It was so good.
They did the same thing with in The Boys.
Oh, they? I'm trying to remember. When
Yeah, in the most recent season.
Oh yeah, sort of, because they were swarming, Homelander, and then he,
Yeah.
like,
Oh no, I'm sorry. In the animated, I don't know if you've seen all the animated ones.
I haven't seen the animated stuff. Is
But
that
they
good?
did kind of an origin story for him, for Homelander, and he starts off like wanting to be, like in earnest, wanting to be a good guy or whatever. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's the same kind of thing happens.
The lost and found. Here, kid takes.
Is-
Yeah.
but is it like?
World
Is it
makes him
like?
whole again?
Like a kid type thing, right? Like, is it just like,
No, it's animated and it's drawn as if it's for kids, but it's absolutely not for kids.
okay, all right. Then I'm
Yeah.
gonna check it out because I had heard of it, but I haven't actually, seen it. Okay.
Yeah, they do like some ironic, like the very first each one is a different animation style too.
Okay.
And the first one is like Looney Tunes style, so it's like definitely, if a kid were to start watching it, they would, they would think it's a cartoon, like a normal cartoon, and then they would be traumatized.
They would be traumatized.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh man. We are like crushing this game. All right, we are like
Sweet.
far into this.
Do you know what your topic is tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm doing this again. Thursday
Oh.
is all black everything.
Oh, Thursday is all. Do you know the topic for Thursday?
I have no idea what the topics are. I have no idea. Like I generally don't know too far.
You know, the way the news is going lately, like there's no point in setting a topic because
Yeah. I
There'll
find
be
all
two
the
new
time-
news cycles by the time. Like, it's insane. Like, I thought for sure that the big news, like for Friday, would be the bill that just passed over the weekend, and now like no one's thinking about that bill.
Oh, yeah.
We've all
Yeah.
moved on to Mar-a-Lago.
Uh,
Oh, by the way, here's a controversial topic. All of a sudden on Twitter, everyone refers to Mar-a-Lago as MAL. Like,
Wow.
that just happened overnight. I don't know. Did everyone just agree all of a sudden to say MAL instead of Mar-a-Lago? I don't know.
I just didn't want to type it. I don't know. Not that
Yeah.
big of a deal.
It's just I've never seen it before. I've seen people type Mar-a-Lago a zillion times.
Oh, okay.
And all of a sudden, now it's MAL.
So hold on to my audience. Okay, so we'll be back on tomorrow with more of this stuff. I'm really enjoying Bastion. Hopefully, I can get my controller like straightened out. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Bastion, guys. Thanks for coming through. We'll do more of this. This is a lot of fun. I wish I played this game previously. The place is great. Yeah. So have a good one, everyone, and I will see you soon. Thanks for the chill sesh, guys. Yeah. Thanks, Stephanie, for being here. I hope to see you again in the future. Please come back. We'd love to have you.